Zenas, in addition to 1230 WBVP Beaver Falls.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
It's now time for One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale. The phone lines are open at 724-843-1888 and 724-774-1888. You can also watch live on the WBVP-WMBA Facebook page. Here is your host, Bryan Pasquale.
You know what I'm sick of? Frauds from Kamala. No one voted for me in 2020, nor 2024. Appointed hairs. To the shills in the media, acting like they are giving you the news. From CNN to Fox News, a bunch of propaganda. You frauds like Stephen A. Smith, Nick Wright, Colin, I don't even watch sports, coward. All the way down to the local media. Enough is enough. This fraud baseball owner in town needs to go, as well as all the frauds he's hired to do work for him. Bob Nutting, I have one message for you. Get out of town. You've embarrassed this city and yourself long enough. You are dismissed. Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. You can check him out along co-host Mike Mueller every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube. Search Two Dumb Yinzers, that's D-U-M, Two Dumb Yinzers. They talk Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, and much more. Also, make sure you check us out here on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. If you'd like to chime in today, please give us a call at 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. What's shaking, Ryan?
Hey, what's going on, my man? How you doing today?
Well, I was doing well. You know, I got all excited. I got done working early, and I decided to go up to Twin Peaks there in Robinson and hang out with my girls and my buddy Jack and watch the Pirates and Paul Skeens pitch.
I got to tell you, Brian, I missed the game almost entirely. We finished up what I was doing this afternoon, and then I actually laid down for a while, so I couldn't wait to come to work to hear what happened. How'd the game go? Did the Pirates win? Did Paul Skeens have a big game?
So Paul Skeens, he pitched 5 innings, had 5 Ks, and gave up 3 runs. It wasn't his best outing, but, you know, he gave him a chance to win. I believe he left the game when it was 6-3. Pirates up 6-3. They went on to make it 8-3, then went on to make it 10-3 in the 7th, and then came the collapse.
Uh-oh.
I mean, it was just the relief pitching is absolutely pathetic. And I kept saying every time they had a chance when it was 10-3, we need another run or two. We had bases on second, third. It just we wouldn't come through. And the offense did what the offense is supposed to do. But the relief pitching, I mean, they got into trouble in the 7th, so they decided to bring in Chapman. Instead of in the 8th, they had to bring Chapman in. There was like 1 out, a couple guys on, and it was getting a little dicey there. So they bring in Chapman. He goes and shuts them down. They bring Chapman back out in the 8th, gets destroyed. Gets absolutely destroyed. They have to take him out of the game. They get out of that jam, too. Then comes in David Bednar. Gives up 6 runs, or between him and whoever they had to bring in between. 6 runs. The Cubs go on to score 6 runs in the top of the 9th to take a 14-10 lead, and the Pirates go out, and I think they got a runner on in the bottom of the 9th, and that was it. So the Pirates are up 10-3 in the 7th and lost 14-10.
So you're telling me they let up 41 runs in these 3 games against the Cubs, where Mitch Keller, Jared Jones, and Paul Skeens started the pitching?
That's your 1, 2, 3 for next year. And
41 runs in 3 days?
Now, those guys didn't give them all up. I know Keller didn't have his best outing, and I know Jones had a terrible 4th inning. And Paul Skeens, I believe it was maybe the top of the seconds where he gave up like the 3 runs, and then we came back and answered and scored 6 in the bottom. So it was like, okay, well, then he's going to get back on track, which he did. They pulled Paul Skeens. Guess how many pitches he had when they pulled him?
How many?
82.
Oh, wow.
82 lousy pitches. Pulled him.
Because anybody that you would have brought in would be better than Paul Skeens, right?
I mean the rookie of the year potentially. Yeah, we got. Don't worry, we got Bednar. I mean, how is he still even on the roster? let alone put them in for saves anymore.
I'm blown away that they let up 41 runs in 3 games. I don't know if we've done that all year. That's unbelievable.
Hey,
and this is a Cubs.
They will surprise you.
This isn't the Yankees. This isn't the Dodgers. This is the Cubs.
I literally all week I thought coming into this show, Ryan, I'm going to talk Steelers. We got Steelers upcoming here in a week and a half, right?
Yeah.
Week and a half. We have Pittsburgh Steelers. They showed the 53-man roster. I figure we'll go over that. We might talk about Paul Skeens going out and having another great outing and him being potentially the rookie of the year, because that's pretty much all we have to root for anymore. And he leaves the game 3-run lead, and they end up getting 4 more runs. So he has a 7-run lead, and they just blow it. They just found every which way to blow it.
And what was the final score? What did the Pirates end up with?
The Pirates had 10. The Cubs had 14. They scored 11 runs in the 7th, 8th, and 9th.
Wow.
Yeah.
And this runs into what I usually say as I'm trying to, justify ways that the Pirates season could not be a waste. I say, you know what? You get to that last month, there's teams that they just don't have it anymore. They just don't give you. It sure feels like this is this team, Brian. I mean, come on, 3 games against the Cubs, 41 runs. I mean, what should we expect for the rest of the way from the Pirates? Are they just going to continue to collapse?
Here's what we should expect to not watch them. I'm so sick of this. Why am I wasting my energy watching this dump of a franchise? I mean, it's been a joke for 30 some years now?
Yeah.
Since 1992, we had a couple seasons we were like the play-in game. I mean, it's pathetic. We make fun of the Browns all the time, do we not?
Yeah, we try our best, yes.
The Detroit Lions, they've been a joke of a franchise. I mean, they've been okay recently, and they've had their years here and there. But is the Pittsburgh Pirates the most despicable Major League sports team? I think the Pirates and the ownership, the fans that go out, how do you continue to go out and support the team? Because this owner does not want anything but your hard-earned money that you work hard for all week. I know there's got to be better things to do to take your family to than to a Pirates game. I mean, going down to the ballpark and spending money there, you're just throwing it away. They don't care.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, Brian. They're selling us the stadium of still. I mean, here we are. It was 2001 that this stadium opened. Here we are, almost 25 years later. We're still being sold the stadium. The stadium is what it's all about. Come down, hang out at the greatest baseball stadium in the land. Blah 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 blah. And I think I got to be honest with you. I mean, a lot of people still dig that. You have kids, you could take the kids to the games. But for people who are fans of the Pirates, it's very frustrating, Brian. It's very frustrating. And again, to almost see 25 years later them still going on and on about the stadium. It shouldn't be about the stadium at all anymore. Yes, that is a great part about the experience, but at some point it's got to be about baseball.
Here's the worst part. So between the what's the owners of the Pens? The Reds. What are they? The group Fenway Group. Yeah, the Fenway Group. Between them and Bob Nutting, they own the TV rights now to the broadcast. So you're not going to get me or you in here saying these guys stink, this owner needs to go.
Right.
The general manager stinks, the manager stinks. Half the players aren't even Major League Baseball players. You're not going to hear that. You're going to hear all this rah, sis boom ba, cheer, cheer, cheer. Well, next year, we'll go get them next year.
You're
and
right.
it's just garbage, and I'm sick of it. That's why I opened up with the monologue I did.
30 years with the next year, with kicking the can down the road. That's been done for 20 years for me, I got to be honest. What 30, what is this, 20, 24, 30? That's almost, 33 years.
So out of the last 33 years, we've had playoff teams 3 times, and it's only because they extended it to more teams. So we played in the play-in game all 3 times. We were lucky enough to get past the Reds and go 5 games with us. Yeah, we shouldn't have been in any. Okay, so we do. You said we have a caller?
Yes.
Jerry, go ahead.
Is this Pirate Helpline?
Right. Yeah. We're doing therapy session here. Go ahead, Jerry.
Hey, I'm going to give you a fun fact. Today's fun fact. The catcher for the Cubs had 7 RBIs today. Hitting against the gas can gang out there today.
Can I add to that? He had 5 RBIs, right? The game was 10-8, and then they walked the guy ahead of him so that they had like double play ball or something, or a force out somewhere. They walked the guy ahead of him. The guy that has 5 RBIs, he gets a hit and had 7. Yes.
Jeez, oh man.
Well, the guy they walked was 4 for 4. So I don't know.
Well, yeah.
But he has 7 RBIs today.
Yes.
You know, Henry Davis has 91 at-bats this year for the part of the future. He has 5 RBIs so far for the season.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if, Jerry, if you saw yesterday's game, but there was a throw from left field, and the runner coming in was out by about 3 steps. And Henry Davis didn't even catch the ball. It was a one-hopper right to him, right to his glove, and a catcher. His main job is catching. Whiffed on the ball, the run scores.
Was that the one they gave O'Neal Cruz an error on?
Yeah, and it was right to him.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's sad. David Bednar, what's his nickname? Is it the Runaground? Or no, the Renegade. You know, he's the power reliever. But, you know, has he pitched a clean inning this month?
One. I remember one because I actually was texting Ryan or calling him that same night, and I was like, that's the first time I've seen him go 1, 2, 3 like all season.
Yeah, I mean, it's really bad. His earned run average is about 6.25 now or something. But, you know, he's making $4.15 million this year on a 1-year contract. Do they bring him back next year?
No, and Aroldis Chapman's making $10 million. So right there, that's almost $15 million. Boom, see you later. Go get a real player.
Did you see Colin Holderman's ERA down in Altoona or Harrisburg or Indiana, wherever he's pitching?
I have not.
I think it's around 7.
Yeah, that sounds right about where he's been here over the last 2 months.
I think they told him, you know, you got a shot to maybe come up and take Bednar's place. You know, he's not pitching real well, and I think he just started throwing hairballs all over the place because that guy chokes terrible.
Well,
he is not a big situation pitcher.
No. There was this kid that played. He was a lefty, played center field on my team, and basically, you know, during inter-township play, we played against him, but he was on my all-star team, and he was a really good pitcher. He struck everybody out, and I didn't understand it because I called him batting practice. I mean, he just hummed it in there just perfect for me every time. I called him batting practice. That's all I see David Bednar being is batting practice.
I mean, it's you know, he's been a closer now. I think this is 4 years. And, you know, he's given up more runs by double over any of the previous 3. You know, his earned run average, I think, is about 3 times the worst one over the previous 3. He's pitched less innings this year than the previous 3. So it's not like he's overworked or anything, but that guy's awful. I mean, those relief pitchers, they go fast. I mean, you know, they'll be, you know, lights out. Next thing you know, they're just, you know, getting hit all over the place. And I think he hit his expiration date. I don't know. It's kind of rough.
Yeah, I agree.
I can't see them bringing him back.
If you're not like a Mariano Rivera or who's the guy that pitched like this, Ryan? He had his arm out. What the heck was his name?
I struck him earlier this year. I can't think what his name is.
I'll figure out his name in the break. But yeah, unless you're one of those guys that have been around for a decade, it's like you said, there's like a 2 to 3 year peak, and then boom, they're gone.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of rough to watch. You know, as bad as the Pirates have been, and everybody, they'll pick on O'Neal Cruz, and they'll pick on Bryan Hayes, and they'll pick on some of the starters and different. But, you know, they would have had about 6 more wins, except they go into the 8th, 9th inning. Bednar and Holderman, I mean, they get blasted. I mean, you know, your closer, they gave him a 2-run lead today, and he couldn't get through the inning.
Yeah,
2 outs, and he gave up 4 runs or something?
I mean, that happens to closers 2, 3, 4 times a year, but this has got to be at least a dozen.
Oh, it's just awful. I mean, you know, I knew after the 7th inning when the Pirates, you know, they gave up 2 runs. I think they had the bases loaded, and they didn't get anything. You know, so it stayed 10-5. And I says, boy, this isn't good. And then when they got a couple runs, and they says David Bednar is up and, you know, getting ready to come in for the 9th, I says, they're going to lose. I mean, you know, you just knew it was going to happen, and it happened.
Yeah, great minds think alike. I was thinking the same thing, Jerry. We are going to have to go to break. Do you have something for Jerry before we go to break, Ryan?
Yeah, just both of you guys. How much do you think that him being from Mars, being here from in the area, plays into this? Do you think that him performing this way this season plays any role in him returning, guys? I mean, I think I could very well see the Pirates bringing him back. They know him. What do you guys think? Does that play a role that he is from here?
I think they really want him to succeed, but I don't know it's going to happen. I think, boy, after this is really hard to watch.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, if he goes to arbitration, he's going to say I got 22 saves or something, which is kind of misleading. I mean, are they going to give him $4.5 million next year? I mean, he's not going to go down to like $1 million. He's probably going to expect more money and things, and I can't see the Pirates of all teams giving this guy a raise.
I agree. I think here's either they're going to get rid of him, or he was hurt this whole year and they're going to bring him back. But here's my thing: if he was hurt this whole year, why did you keep sending him out there, especially in the ninth?
I don't know. Probably help him to lose like 5 or 30 pounds, though. That wouldn't be too bad.
All right, Jerry, we got to let you go.
I
appreciate
so much,
the phone
Jerry.
call.
Thank you, fellas.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, we got another caller. Is this Jerry's brother, Terry?
It is. How's it going?
What's shaking, Terry?
Hey, remember the beginning of the season? We were all excited about the bullpen, remember?
Yes.
Yes, we were.
Holderman, Chapman, and Bednar. It said all they said was get the lead into the 7th inning and we've got a victory. Well, I unfortunately was watching the wrap-up show here, and here's some stunning stats on the series. The series, the Cubs scored 26 runs after the 6th inning.
Jeez.
Yikes.
Now this is from the Pirate telecast. This is not my internet search here. Okay, and today was the first Pirate loss in a game that they were ahead by 7 or more runs since 1974.
Wow.
It's 50 years.
Jeez,
This franchise is a absolute dumpster fire. Period. I'm stunned. What do you say? I mean, what can you do? It's not like you can draw up 3 guys from the minors and they're going to cut this all off. And the Cubs are not, the Yankees or the Dodgers or any other really good hitting team. Good, but they're not a superstar team. And we all want the Pirates to succeed. We all love them. But when you look at the reality, it starts from the management and goes all the way down. And I really don't think this team will ever rise to the occasion unless Bob Nothing were to sell the team, which and I know he's not going to do that. So
yeah, he thinks things are going well.
Well, I'm sure financially they are.
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I mean, you could bring in Terry Francona to manage. You could bring in back Barry Bonds in his prime, and you could bring back Doug Drabeck in his prime, and we're still not going to be a playoff contender.
It's just the system. It's a bad system.
Guys, I'm old enough to remember the Knothole gang at Forbes Field, okay?
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget those beautiful days. And we weren't all that good, but that was back in the early 60s when, the team was at least competitive. Let's face it, it's 2024, okay? The game has changed 100%. But, the management still runs the show. And when it comes down to getting people, getting players, and one other quick note now, I'll let you go. The manager, he gets on there, and so the press is doing their normal job. Derek Shelton's sitting there. He's getting all salty with these guys, We just have to, finish games. He was, that guy's usually calm, cool, and collected no matter what.
Right.
This guy was yelling and screaming. Well, not that bad. I mean, compared to what he is usually, they're like, wow. I guess he hopes that the players will hear that, and then they'll go ahead and respond in kind. But I'm not going to bet any money on that. So
he's in that unfortunate position of being the middleman. I mean, I'm sure he's not a dumb guy, and he sees what's going on, and he understands why fans are upset. But on the other hand, his hands are tied as well. So I'm sure he's probably getting more than frustrated at this point.
Well, when you blow all these leads and you give up all these runs, and it's just, and if you see the end of the ball game, these ones that they lose, and this one's tough to take. This one's tough.
Yeah.
I'm so sick and tired of hearing them say, "This one's a tough one to take."
Yeah, too many of those.
Yeah, well, we're out of it, and I don't know. I literally don't know a way. What do you propose to do? I mean, I don't have any answers. Right? What do you guys think? I mean, what do you think can get us out of this hole?
Nothing. It's so depressing to say that. Nothing. It's not like you can do a couple of changes in the offseason and come back and be, they could maybe make some good choices and get some good luck and maybe come back and be a 500 team, but that's not, that's not the goal.
Yeah.
It almost seems like it would be
laugh about it.
Yeah, it almost seems like it would be a complete overhaul to do that. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, Bob Nutting, and then the whole way down, it's a broke system, and if 32 years hasn't proven that to us, I don't know what will.
Well, be ready to get our losing season again coming. There's no way they're going to finish above or at or above 500.
Yeah,
and so, well. Life goes on. Steelers season is upon us.
It sure is.
It is. Unfortunately, we got to really go to break here. So great call, Terry. Appreciate you. Give us a call anytime.
Okay, talk to you later.
All right, take care. All right, you guys have been listening to WBVP. We'll be right back here after the break.
Beaver County Radio, your hometown radio station. You're listening live from the Fry Transportation Studios. Beaver County Radio and Fry Transportation, proud to call Beaver County home.
Back to school season means back to your credit union season. Before you pack the lunchbox, be sure and pack your wallet. Visit Friendly Federal Credit Union and get the cash supply you'll need so that you can buy the school supplies that they will need. This is Cindy Hiladio. Stop into the principal's office and see me to sign up for an easy-to-manage personal signature loan. They're now available from $500 to $10,000 with approved credit. Friendly Federal Credit Union, member NCUA, Equal Housing Lender.
This is Andy Toole, men's basketball coach at Robert Morris University, here to talk about my friends at Falcone Moon Township Ford. I know what it takes to win a basketball game. It begins with practice and a team of players who want to win. The same is true of the team at Moon Township Ford. Professionals who will win you over. They'll find the best rate and terms on a car loan to help you get the best deal. Make a fast break and avoid the roadblocks that stop you from finding the car you want. Go where I go. Moon Township Ford.
Falcone's Moon Township Ford, where friends send friends.
I'm Daniel Frank, and I'm a Beaver Bobcat. That's because we are training for a long and a very profitable postseason once high school is over at the Beaver County and Technology Center.
If you're an employer, what do you look for in a prospective new hire? A proven track record is usually the number one trait. For 46 years now, the Beaver County Career and Technology Center has been creating the workforce that has shaped Western Pennsylvania industry and service sector enterprises. It's the program with proven experience that employers know they can count on when they need to fill their workforce. Enroll your child or grandchild at the known quantity among educators and business leaders alike for 4 decades. The Beaver County Career and Technology Center. Signing up through your local public school is easy and can give your student the ability, in many cases, to make more money in certain fields than college graduates. Free career training at Beaver County Career and Technology Center is the perfect choice. Visit bcctc.org.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. If you'd like to chime in today, please call 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. Also, make sure you check us out here on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Ryan, we were talking about how awful it is to be in the city of Pittsburgh as a baseball fan, and the trash that Bob Nutting, along with owners before him, and the general managers, and I guess the managers under them, and how bad it's been. On a lesser note, we've had the Rooneys for how long? Is this Rooney a good owner? On the spot?
The owner right now of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
Is he a good owner?
Yes.
I would say yes. I wouldn't say that he's a bad owner.
Okay, was his father a better owner?
I mean, you'd have to take numbers and have all kind of information to make that decision. But I just...
Well, I like to put you on the spot
I know. I just, you hear Rooney's. Of course, the team has been very, very good since, 1970. So I don't really... I kind of see where you're going, but I'd say, yeah, they're good owners.
Okay, so his big hire was Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
A guy that, what was he, like a defensive backs coach?
Yes.
And then 1 year he was a defensive coordinator, I believe, for the Vikings.
Yes.
Ran a 4-3 system, which he has not run since. And got hired, I don't know, had a lot of success very early. It's made it to 2 Super Bowls, won. But lately, he is average, or the team has been average. Now, you could blame that on Ben getting hurt, a couple head cases imploding, maybe some injuries. But is Mike Tomlin a good coach? And the real question is, will he be a good coach this upcoming season?
I mean, I could be very cliche and say he's never had a losing season. I mean, that's the answer.
I've never heard that.
9 times out of 10, you're going to get that answer. It's a very good question, and I got to be honest with you. I'm gonna be extremely. I'm gonna just say this right up front. If these 2 quarterbacks do not equal what it was that the Kenny Pickett teams was able to do over the past 2 years, I'm going to be extremely obnoxious about this. But
what was the Steelers' record last year, though? With Kenny Pickett, were they 10 and or I'm sorry, they were 7 and
they were 7-5. They were 7-5, and then he went down.
Oh, okay. And then Trubisky was atrocious.
Trubisky came in was 0-3,
right.
And then Rudolph came in and won out.
Right. Okay. So Kenny Pickett wasn't awful record-wise.
7-5, no.
And then the year before, I think, what was he?
He was above 500 as well.
Okay. So you're saying if Russell Wilson / Justin Fields can't be over 500, what are you saying? Kenny Pickett's better than them?
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that it is a joke. I mean, you're looking to upgrade. You're bringing in guys. One guy is he's arguably a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yes.
Another guy coming out. He was a highly regarded quarterback out of Ohio State, being Justin Fields. I just assume on paper that you're going to be better by bringing these 2 players in over Kenny Pickett, who was what most people believe is a bust. So that's what I'm saying.
Before we get into the Steelers, because we're going to probably go to break here in a little bit. We got several minutes here, so don't go anywhere if you're listening out there. But I kind of want to clean this up. Looking back, Mike Tomlin, should Mason Rudolph have been the number 1 guy after Ben retired and then seen what he could do?
I mean, that's an argument. And, I think that you and I have even had this conversation. I think that it was probably handled the way that I would have handled that particular situation. I wasn't really sold on Mason Rudolph. Did he come in last year at the end of the season and pull off 3 wins? Yes, he did do that. But the guy that I've seen for year after year after year, there's just something that you gain about watching a guy, watching him perform, not looking at his numbers, not looking at the X's and O's, but just seeing a guy on the field. To me, he just never had that look. I never felt that he was a starting quarterback. Am I wrong? I still don't to this point. He's not starting in Tennessee either, so we don't know the answer to this. But this was the route I would have took. I wouldn't have went with Mason Rudolph, but that's just me personally. But I hear a lot of people saying the opposite of that.
Okay, hindsight's always 20/20. So obviously nobody would have drafted Kenny Pickett in the first round. Nobody would have brought in Mitch Trubisky from, what was he, at Buffalo? He was the backup at Buffalo.
Yeah.
So, which I believe he's back at Buffalo, the backup there, which my buddy Dan was texting me like, hey, are they keeping Cal Allen because we really want him to be our backup? I'm pretty sure they're keeping him. I text you, and that's why I asked you.
I do like Cal Allen. I mean, he's not a bad 3 at all. He's really not.
Yeah, so I just think, Mike Tomlin's responsible for this. He brings in Mitch Trubisky. He drafts, Kenny Pickett. He doesn't play what apparently was, at least for 3 games, his best quarterback that he had the whole time that they drafted, what was that, 7 years earlier or 6 years earlier. So I think he's made a lot of mistakes. I've been really happy with last year's draft and this year's draft. Russell Wilson isn't the answer moving forward, but I think he's an answer potentially for this year, obviously, and possibly next year.
Yeah.
But just with his age. So I don't know. I'm thinking after the break, Ryan, we get into the 53-man roster that was just decided on and maybe look forward into this upcoming season.
Absolutely.
That sound good?
Sounds great to me, man.
All right. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Athletes as being all washed up. Well, quite frankly, that's a rather nice compliment if you ask me. This is the Aquaman of Beaver County, Jim Riggio from the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority. When you hear something like that, you have to consider the source of the water, that is. After all, getting washed up with Beaver Falls Municipal Authority water can't be a bad thing. That's because for over 80 years, we've made it possible for everyone to feel washed up, even if they are not star athletes. Click bfwater.net.
Want the ultimate cigar experience? Fat Boy Cigars Premium Tobacco Shop and Smoking Lounge is located off 376 in Center Township. Fat Boy Cigars offers all your cigar needs with an assortment of some of the finest cigars, including small batch boutique cigars and over 21 aromatic pipe tobacco blends and accessories. Stop by and see their luxurious lounge accommodations. Book them for your next event. Visit their social media page for a list of event dates and times. Welcome to the Fat Boys world, Beaver County.
Let's face it, work is a large part of your life. Why not choose a job that allows the opportunity of a fulfilling career working with people who appreciate you? St. Barnabas Health System is looking for extraordinary, service-minded people to join our team. Earn and learn with career opportunities on our clinical, housekeeping, and food service teams. For more information and to apply, visit stbarnabashealthsystem.com or call 724-444-JOBS. Jobs that are apart from the ordinary. Find them at St. Barnabas Health System.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garazunas. You can check him out alongside co-host Mike Mueller at every Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. on YouTube. Search Two Dumb Yinzers. That's D-U-M. Two Dumb Yinzers. They talk Steelers, Pirates, Penguins, and much, much more. Also, make sure you check us out here on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. If you'd like to talk about the Steelers, give us a call here at 724-843-1888 or 724-774-1888. Over the break, Ryan gave me some more bad news. Ryan, with the bad news. Well, over to you. What's her Quivers? What's her name?
Robin Quiver.
Over to you, Robin Quivers.
Over to you, Robin Ophelia
Tell
Quivers.
us about the weather. Is she the weather girl?
She's the news girl. Close enough.
All right.
Okay.
You look like a weather girl.
I do look like a weather girl. But yeah, I mean,
like the hot ones from like the Latina shows.
Absolutely, that's exactly what I was thinking. They, a lot of concern, obviously, going into this going into the NFL season in about 10 days from now about this offensive line. Broderick Jones isn't quite sure which tackle position he's going to be lining up as. Also, Fatanu, very, very little playing time. The rookie, of course, this year's rookie first-round pick. He hasn't played since the first game in the preseason. So you're kind of discouraged about these tackles. Okay, what's going to go on with the tackle position? But I just got word that Isaac Seumalo, he did get injured today, Brian. Our starting left guard came over from Philadelphia a couple seasons ago. He did get hurt. There's no further information that I have. He's going to get tested, and we will find out information as it becomes available.
Now, Ryan, other than going over the 53-man roster, I had a little game to play with you if we had enough time, which just for you guys to know out there, starting next week, this show will be on from 5 to 7 throughout the NFL season. Yes, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. We will have the extra hour to go into more detail about the Steelers' upcoming games and whatnot, the X's and O's, and everything else going on in sports. So, but today we only do have the hour. But one of the games I wanted to play with you, Ryan, was I had your 5 negatives of the Steelers, or basically your 5 concerns going into the season.
Yeah.
One of mine that I had written down was the injury bug early. So one of my concerns was already the injuries that we've had, and then you add, he was our best offensive lineman last year.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett's best play last year was 3rd and short or 4th and short. They did the quarterback sneak. Every single quarterback sneak he ran behind Siamalu.
Yes. It is. The injury bug has been hitting us early. It's been hitting us often, not just on the offensive line. You're seeing it other positions as well through the preseason. That is one of the unfortunate parts of playing football, that be the case sometimes. As of right now, as I said, we have 10, 11 days to go till the Steelers open up in Atlanta against the Falcons, and we don't know. Our Broderick Jones doesn't know which tackle position he's playing.
Well, here's the situation.
It's not that he's not prepared to play that position, Brian. He doesn't know what side he's going to be on. That's not a good sign either.
He might be the number 2 wideout.
We might need that.
Right? So here's the situation. So basically, it's almost a guarantee at this point Dan Moore Jr. is going to start at left tackle. I would assume Siamalu is either going to start. If he's hurt, Spencer Anderson, I would assume, would be starting at left guard, because in the preseason game that I went to, the first preseason game, he started at left guard because they gave Siamalu the day off.
Yeah.
Because of injury, our rookie from West Virginia University, Zach Frazier, will start at center.
That's another concern. Is he not because he's not good? I'm not saying that, but he's a rookie.
I would assume he's going to be our center for the next 10 years, but is he going to be ready the first 4, 6, 8 games of this season? The growing pains are going to be probably pretty harsh. It's not like he's out there with 4 other guys that have been working together for 10 years either.
And I think this is part of the problem, Brian, because these 2 quarterbacks are 2 of the quarterbacks that hold onto the ball the longest, and you have a lot of offensive line issues. That is a concern. People are worrying about the number 2 wide receiver position. They're worried about the nickelback position. But this, come on, this has got to be maybe the biggest elephant in the room.
Okay, so James Daniel would probably start at right guard, and then Broderick Jones, even though we drafted him number 1 last year, moved up to get him to play left tackle. He played right tackle last year, the second half of the season, because somebody said they weren't trying, or I don't know, whoever we got rid of. So he didn't even get put in until that happened. It wasn't like he beat out somebody to get right tackle. Then we draft in the first round Troy Fatano to start at right tackle this year. A lot of people have said he's a guard. A lot of people have said he's a guard and not a tackle. Tackles have a little bit more footwork. They're a little more athletic, longer arms, But, do we see Fatano moving into guard instead of like a Spencer Anderson, or is Fatano just on the waiting list until somebody gets hurt or cries that they're not trying?
No, I think that's a very good possibility, as you stated. But also, you got to think, Brian, there's going to be a lot of plugging and playing. When you have this issue, it's not just one player on the offensive line. You go across the board. Again, here we are with both of our supposed starting tackles of the future. We got issues. One of them's hurt. Hasn't played a real down in the NFL yet. The other one doesn't know what side he's going to play on. And then you mentioned the rookie at center. He's a good rookie. He's going to be a good center, probably a center for a very long, long time here. But again, he is a rookie. He's never played a game that mattered in the NFL. Add Siamalu's injury today, if that's any more serious than we'd like it to be, that speaks for problems, Brian. We could have what we were hoping to be better and improving as a season. It's looking like it could go the other way if this kind of thing continues.
All right, keeping on the offensive line, because I think that's a huge question mark. Basically, the Pirate season this year, the huge question mark was its starting pitching, and we had, probably the best relievers in the game, and we saw how that went.
Yeah.
So we might be worrying about nothing, but I think it's good to worry. The offensive line, another problem I see, Russell Wilson, not only do you say that he holds onto the ball, we all know that he holds onto the ball, he throws short of the sticks on third down. He's like instead of being risky, he's a very conservative quarterback, except for when he throws it in the end zone in the Super Bowl to the other team instead of handing off. But he can't see over the offensive line.
I was just going to say
he
that
has
as well.
a hard time seeing in between the hash marks. So a lot of his passes are deep and to the sidelines and checkdowns, which is fine because he's only as tall as he can be. But right,
when you put it that way,
he's not gonna do the Bobby Brady where he stretches on the swing set in the backyard to try to grow an inch or two. But that frees up maybe an extra linebacker from the middle blitzing. Instead of having to worry about the guy over the middle, I see just huge troubles with this offensive line. That and Pat Freiermuth can't block worth a darn.
A lot of these issues I hoped would be taken care of by this point. Again, a week and a half until we kick off. And we have after this injury today to Isaac Seumalo, we just better hope and pray that he's going to be okay, because if he's not, that offensive line problem becomes a lot bigger really quick.
Yeah, if you throw Spencer Anderson, he does well, and Seumalo's back in a game or two, okay, not the end of the world. But to me, I want to say 2 seasons ago, the line stunk. But at the end of the year, they had it going, but they had not one injury the whole season. So the same 5 guys got to go to work. When there's a stunt or this or that, who to pick up and whatnot. And it's not always one-on-one blocking. There's some zone blocking that goes involved in it. I don't know. I'm not an NFL coach, but I watch enough. And whenever I watch games, I typically watch the offensive and defensive line.
Right.
So I see a disaster down in Atlanta potentially.
You nailed this too, because again, there's no time for this team to gel. For the line, there's no time for the line to gel. We've been dealing with the injuries the whole way through preseason. Again, Broderick Jones been having his issues, and I can't say it enough. The injury today to Seumalo, depending how that goes, they just never had time to play together. Half of the line is rookies. What are you going to do?
Yeah, and then you throw, let's say, Russell Wilson, twists an ankle during the middle of the game, and Justin Fields goes in. That guy just fumbles every time. He had like 12 fumbles in the preseason. I'm over-exaggerating, but it was close. He's had 38 fumbles and 40 games played as an NFL quarterback. I don't I can't comprehend that number. If it was 38 interceptions, okay, I get it. How do you put the ball on the ground every game once?
It would have been somewhat encouraging if he would have made it through this 3-game period and not had that happen. The fact that you've seen it at least 3 times off the top of my head that I can remember, that I can recall, that's not a good sign either. If he if he would have came to town with a reputation and you wouldn't have seen it,
right?
We've already seen it.
You're like, it was a center's fault or it was a bad handoff. But I went to the first preseason game. In the first quarter, he had 2 fumbles in the first 2 possessions, and I'm like, what is wrong with this guy's hands?
And some fans might step up and say, maybe it wasn't his fault, but again, you have to look at the history of the player, and he certainly has this in his past.
Yeah, the injury bug. It's sad. We are 10 days away, 11 days away from a game.
Yeah,
and we're talking about the injury bug. This isn't week 11. This isn't week 12. Like we're coming back from the bye week and we're getting some guys back. We're not even to a game yet, and these guys don't even really play in the preseason.
Yeah.
What's going on? I thought they were bigger, better athletes. I've never experienced this. I watch the NBA and I realize it, and just bear with me here because I'm going to make a point that's not about the NBA, because I know a lot of Western Pennsylvania doesn't care about the NBA. But I hear all the time how much better athletes these guys are, how they have so much more skill, this, that, and the other thing, which I think is a bunch of baloney. But they're always hurt. They're always sitting out. There's always something wrong. Is that what's going on in the NFL as well, to a lesser degree, like where somebody's hurt and, they got a contract coming up next year, or, their agent just says, nah, sit out, versus back in the day, they shot you up with something and you went back out there and played.
Yeah.
Hurt. You didn't tell anybody you were hurt. The trainer knew that.
Yeah, do you remember Jerome Bettis? They used to give him that shot of whatever it was, like in his pelvis area. He had issues. He'd go out there and he would bowl over everybody.
Wait a minute. They used to juice up the bus in his pelvis?
They did, yeah. He was dealing with some kind of injury there in the middle of his body.
Were they out of the juice on the touchdown run against the Colts when he fumbleida?
I don't ever want to talk about that day for the rest of my life, and we're not going to.
Who was the chick that stabbed her boyfriend or husband or whatever, and he was the one that picked up the fumble and Ben tackled him?
Oh, yeah, that
She
guy.
stabbed him the night before, and he was questionable for the game. I mean, he got stabbed by a knife, and he's supposed to run it 95 yards.
Right.
And Ben Roethlisberger tackles
If you're
you.
Indianapolis, you have to blame the girlfriend for that loss.
110%. 110%. I think I sent her a pizza Supreme.
Yes.
I don't promote violence.
I see we have a couple minutes here before break, Brian, but I think another big story that maybe the media isn't covering enough is when you take a look at the wide receiver room for this Pittsburgh Steelers team. Of course, today's...
I'm glad you stayed offense because I want to deal with the defense after the break. So, yes.
And, I mean, your 5 receivers are George Pickens, Calvin Austin III, Van Jefferson, Scotty Miller, and I'm forgetting...
Roman Wilson, the rookie.
Roman Wilson, who never seen a down yet in the NFL preseason or regular season.
So there was guys like warming up during the preseason game, and my daughter, she doesn't know anything about football at all. It was just kind of like a night to go out and hang out with her before she goes off to college and whatnot. And I saw Scotty Miller there, and I go, "Oh, see that guy right there, like stretching and jumping and doing it?" I said, "He's not going to make the team." Here he is, the number 5 wide receiver. I mean, God bless him.
He
God
would
bless
be
his
one of the
family,
guys that I wouldn't have thought would have made it either, Brian. I thought that either Quez Watkins or Des Fitzpatrick would have certainly beat out Scotty Miller. But when you go back and look at tape, and don't get me wrong, those 2 receivers did very well. Scotty Miller caught everything that came to him. Scotty Miller turned up the field and made a play when he needed to. It wasn't many times, but he did what he had to do. Excuse me. I think that could have went either way. You could have brought any of those 3 receivers in for that particular position, but they went with Scotty Miller. So again, to me, Brian, that's a pretty weak looking wide receiver room. What do you think?
Well, before I get into my answer, yesterday at 6:04 p.m., I text my daughter, "Remember that guy I said wasn't going to make the Steelers team? Well, he did." Laugh out loud. I really like Van Jefferson.
Okay.
I absolutely think Van Jefferson is going to be a top-notch wide receiver in this league.
Now, that would be in an ideal situation where you had a good offensive line that would block for your quarterback, and your quarterback would be able to get deliver the ball to where it needs to be. I mean, with all the issues that we have as a team, do you still think Van Jefferson could be that guy that you're talking about?
Okay, so let's just say you play fantasy football, and it doesn't matter if the team wins or loses. That's irrelevant.
Right.
And the Steelers are down a lot in the second half, and they need to get those chunk yards.
Right.
I think Van Jefferson's going to get a lot of targets then.
I hope you're right. I hope he works out. Don't get me wrong.
All right. Well, we're going to get into the defense for the Steelers here on the other side of the break. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to One Man's Opinion on Sports.
Looking for home services? Call Patriot Home Care in Beaver Falls. Their staff provides company, conversation, and companionship to all patients, ensuring medications are taken on time, participating in fun community activities, personal care, meal prep, and light household work are all services provided by Patriot Home Care, all thanks to the hardworking and selfless team members. Call Patriot Home Care at 724-506-8911 or stop in Patriot Home Care at 1225 7th Avenue, Beaver Falls.
Honey, I found the perfect place for my parents and us.
Where?
St. Barnabas. For us, the Woodlands Carriage Home Community. And for my parents, condominium-style living at the Village. My folks will love the Village. There's an indoor mall with shops, restaurants, and more. And we can relax, knowing they're safe and secure.
That's what I plan to do when we move to St. Barnabas. Relax.
Call 724-444-5568 or visit stbarnabascommunities.com.
Looking for a fall activity for your children? Pass and score your way into the Beaver County YMCA's Youth Soccer League. The league will teach the basic fundamentals of soccer. There will be 1 practice a week teaching drills and skills. This soccer league is for kids ages 5 through 12 and runs from September 10th to October 19th. Registration is already open. To register, go to beavercountyymca.org.
Tune in to Beaver County Radio after the Friday night football game for the 35th anniversary season of Falcone's Moon Township Ford Wrap-Up Show. Beaver County Radio's Bruce Fry and Ryan Garazunis will have the scores, standings, and any news from the games. They will also take your phone calls so you can talk about your favorite team. The Falcone's Moon Township Ford Wrap-Up Show is being brought to you by Carver Construction, the St. Barnabas Health System, Beaver County Career and Technology Center, Falcone's Moon Township Ford, the YMCA, the Beaver Falls Municipal Authority, Patriot Home Care, Keystone Wellness Program, Fry Transportation Group, Freedom United Federal Credit Union, the Community College of Beaver County, Friendly Federal Credit Union, Fat Boy Cigars, Geneva College, and Beaver County Radio.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
Now, back to One Man's Opinion with Bryan Pasquale.
Welcome back to One Man's Opinion on Sports with me, Bryan Pasquale. I'm here at the St. Barnabas Studios. Joining me today is my producer, Ryan Garzunas. Make sure you check us out here on Beaver County Radio Facebook Live and Beaver County Radio YouTube. Ryan, I want to get into the defense. We only have like 10 minutes to talk about the defense because we talked about those awful Pittsburgh Pirates for the first segment, which I was not planning on. If you guys missed it, the Pirates had Paul Skeens going today, had a 10-3 lead going to the seventh, and lost 14-10. So,
well, if anything, in your defense, Bryan, 10-3 and 14-10 are football scores. So, it isn't like we really went totally off.
It's a segment right into Cam Hayward. So, here's the situation: the defensive line. I don't even know. Is Ogunjobi? Is he any good?
He's never wowed me. I can tell you that. I think he's solid at his position, and if you're
is he just below average?
Well, yes.
Okay.
And I think they have so much money paid out on defense. We've all just kind of accepted that. You know what? He's a pretty average guy. But,
yeah, it is top heavy on the defense there. Keanu Benton, I think he's going to have a stellar sophomore year. Cam Hayward, hopefully he stays healthy, but I think he's just going to do more of the same like he did last year. I hope I'm wrong. Who is going to play defensive line, Ryan, and get some reps? Because obviously those 3 are going to be rotated in and out.
DeMarvin Leal, I look forward to seeing him play. I think that he's due. I was hoping that he was going to look good this year. So far in preseason, I thought he looked really good.
I'm going to put a star by his name. Ryan said he's going to do pretty good.
Yeah, put a star for Ryan. Put a star next to Leal and also for Benton. Those are my two guys that I'm pulling for on the line. Your other guys, you have Montravius Adams, Loudermilk, guys like this. They're going to be what they are. They're going to be fill-in, and you know what? They've been okay to this point. Defense should be good, Bryan. I think that we've made a few changes. Hopefully they're for the better. But we continue to add into the linebacker room, which I believe that we have one of the better linebacker rooms in the league, and we helped on the back end with the secondary. So I hope that we could continue to play well as a defense, and it looks like that's going to be what keeps us in a lot of these games.
I want to go down to the Steelers' first home game. Who do we play? It's week 3. Who do we play?
I believe
is it like Dallas or something, or is it not Dallas yet?
We know
it's not a division team.
It's definitely
that's not till like week 16, I think.
I believe it's the Chargers come to town in week 3.
Not San Diego.
It's not.
But here's what I want to do, Ryan. And everybody loves TJ Watt, right?
Yeah.
All Steelers fans think he is God's gift to Sundays, right?
You're correct.
I want to go and survey 1,000 TJ Watt super fans at the game and ask them what the T stands for in TJ Watt.
I think a fair amount of people may know just because people keep up with their Steelers.
When you say fair, what do you what percentage?
Let me say, if you ask 10 people, I'd say at the Steeler game.
I don't want a fair weather fan. I want somebody down at the game that's been tailgating, maybe not too drunk, but at least enough to answer my questions. But yes, a diehard Steelers, maybe with the TJ Watt jersey on as well. 1,000 people with a TJ Watt jersey on.
I think they do good. I really do. I mean, if there's Steeler fans at the game with the TJ Watt jersey, I think, of course, the percentages, the chances are better. If you're walking, down at the river at Rochester, maybe not as much, but I would say a pretty high percentage. If they're wearing the TJ Watt jersey, they're fans. They, you watch the TV or the games, you're on the internet, you learn things. I think it would be a pretty decent percent.
I think it's less than 10%, but that's just me.
If 10 people were asked, you say less than one person would know that answer?
Well, I'd like to ask 1,000.
Correct, right.
So, so I'm saying less than 100.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I'd like to ask them a follow-up question. What's the J stand for?
Yeah.
And I guarantee I'm under 5% there. Probably under 3%.
If you're looking for both letters, maybe.
Well, they don't have to get them both right. They get the T right. Obviously, I think more people are going to get Trent.
Yeah.
I think very few know that his middle name's Jordan.
See, I think that Jordan is what stands out most to me because Jordan is such a popular name in sports, of course.
Number 23.
As what you were just referring to with your arms.
Yes. That was me making the final shot against the Utah Jazz.
The thing was, I recognized that
NBA
shot.
99 finals.
But yeah.
Now, Patrick Queen, the pickup from the Baltimore Ravens, supposedly he was only good because he played next to a good player last year. He's going to be playing next to TJ Watt this year. So what, I mean, I know that's not an inside linebacker, but
still, I got to tell you one thing else. Also, Brian, is this a Landon Roberts? He hasn't been anything to laugh at. This guy has been very, very good for this team. He had over 100 tackles, whatever it was last year. I think that he's not Roquan Smith, but again, playing next to Landon Roberts, having these other linebackers around you, behind you. I think that he has a pretty good season. And I got to tell you, from what I've seen from him in the preseason, he's one of these guys. He's all over the place. He's sideline to sideline. We haven't had that guy, per se, since Ryan Shazier. So it's nice to see somebody like that back on the defense.
All right, there's 3 more linebackers I want to talk about. Then I want to move to the defensive backs because we do only have 5 minutes here. My bold prediction this year is that Alex Highsmith has more sacks this year than Trent Jordan Watt. That's my bold prediction. More sacks than TJ Watt. It's my prediction.
Yeah, I guess it's possible.
Okay, let's move on there because it's probably not going to happen, but that's my prediction.
I'm just not blown away with Alex Highsmith yet. I could see,
here's my theory why. Herbig is so good.
Yeah.
If that doesn't light a fire under you to go above and beyond, I think you lose your starting spot to Herbig.
Well, here's the thing: you're making big money, so it's going to take a lot. It's going to take a lot. Yeah. It's going to take a lot to get him to lose his spot to a
maybe not
guy.
His spot, but maybe he sits out a little more often than he does.
Don't get me. I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. I just think the money plays a big role in this situation.
Yes,
I think that
110%.
Nick Herbig could come out and actually outperform Highsmith. What I've seen from the way that he plays compared to the way Highsmith plays, I think he has potential to be a better player. But again, money always rolls, and unfortunately, that's going to do that the same.
So my prediction
situation
is that Highsmith has more sacks than Watt, but I also think that Herbig has the potential more than that prediction. Herbig has the potential to be better than Highsmith.
I mean, my mind's...
I mean, that's just a weird, funky whatever, but that's what I'm thinking. One more linebacker I want to talk about because we've got to get to the defensive backs here before we have the end of the show here. Peyton Wilson, what do you think his contributions are going to be?
I think they're going to be big. They're going to be like Nick Herbig's. He's a similar kind of player.
Does he get 2 stars? Or just 1?
Yeah, I give him a couple stars. His concern for me is injuries. Keeping him on the field is the concern with Peyton Wilson.
He was healthy his junior and senior year, though, in college, so I don't get it.
Yeah.
I mean, what's he, like, missing a knee or a hip or something? I don't know.
He's missing a knee, I think.
All right, so we've got at left cornerback, but I think he's going to move wherever that Joey Porter Jr. doesn't go. Dante Jackson, that we picked up in the trade. Joey Porter Jr. Then you have Beanie Bishop, from the undrafted guy from West Virginia University, because Cameron Sutton is out 8 games. Not quite sure what's going to happen there if Beanie Bishop doesn't do well in the first series. Honestly.
Yeah. One thing that I was thinking about this, because Corey Trice has looked so good, and he would have been a nice draft pick if injuries wouldn't have been his deal also in college, if Corey Trice could be that avatar.
Is Dante Jackson able to play the slot, though, if Corey Trice...
You just literally put your hand in my mouth and stole what I was saying right out of my mouth, because if you would have these 2 avatars, your Joey Porter Jr. and your
strong,
Corey Trice...
long arms,
exactly.
Run,
and then you move this experienced DB who, a lot of people say he's going to be really good, put him in the nickel position. That might be your answer.
And then throw Beanie Bishop in the dime, or you add one of these extra safeties into the dime.
Absolutely.
Depending. Okay. Speaking of the safeties, we got Deshaun Elliott, then with a backup of KZ. Miles Killebrew could back up Fitzpatrick. Does Fitzpatrick and or Highsmith both have bounce back years?
I think Minkah Fitzpatrick does. I think that there's going to be things that happen that's going to allow him to play his game. I do see him having a nice bounce back season. I don't think he even had an interception last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I do see somewhat of a bounce back by Minkah. Alex, I'm still not sold on Alex. I'm not sold on Alex. I wish that I was. I'm just not.
Well, that's unfortunate. Well, Ryan, I think we had a good show. We're not going yet, so don't go anywhere, everybody. But basically, the theme of the show was get Bob Nutting the heck out of town.
Yes.
We have major concerns with the Steelers going into week 1 at Atlanta, not this Sunday, but next Sunday. A lot of them is injuries. And, Ryan, in the cap era, this is the way it is. No team's going to be the 90s 49ers or the 90s Cowboys where they were just stacked and deep.
Yeah, I mean, that's the way that it seems. And then you'd think that, okay, well, teams can't win a lot like that anymore, which New England proved that to be wrong for 2 decades. And now Kansas City
has a chance to
players keep going. They keep leaving. They keep leaving. And Patrick Mahomes, keeps getting it done. So you're 100% right.
Yeah. Last question before we go, and it's a general NFL question. Do the Kansas City Chiefs go back to back to back?
It's all a matter of what Vegas wants at the end, I think.
No holding calls on their offensive line all playoffs? Is that what you're saying?
If you follow New England for 2 decades in this KC team, you make your own judgment on that.
I don't know. I mean, what if Taylor Swift dumps Kelsey?
Maybe that will play a role.
Is everything just thrown out the window at that point?
Right.
All right, listen. Next week, make sure you join us here from 5 to 7. We will have One Man's Opinion on Sports along with Ryan Garazunas every Wednesday from 5 to 7 during the NFL season. You guys have been listening to WBVP 99.3 FM and 1230 AM. We'll be right back to in 167 hours.
The views and opinions expressed on WBVP and WMBA are those of the participants and host. They are not necessarily the viewpoint of WBVP and WMBA, its staff, management, and advertisers. Thank you for listening to WBVP and WMBA.
You've been listening to One Man's Opinion on Sports with Bryan Pasquale on Beaver County Radio.